So today, I am tier listing all 283 one mana minions in Hearthstone. I don't know why I did this to myself. It took me almost 2 hours to do. So please like, comment, whatever, subscribe, join my Discord. Please do all of these things because why did I do this to myself? I was playing on my stream before I started doing this. I lost literally every game. I played like 12 games. I lost every single one. So I was like, fuck it. But yeah, I'll be doing this. If you enjoy, like, comment, subscribe, join my Discord, tell me anything I did wrong. If you think for some reason Patches isn't the best one drop in the game, it obviously is. It's goddamn Patches, you'll see it. But I think it's pretty accurate. I didn't do like any special tiers. I just did like cards never saw play, cards saw some fringe play, or like meme worthy. Cards saw some play. Cards were good, and then the best cards is just what it is. S to D. Yeah, well, I'll catch you guys into the video. Peace. So, this is a tier list of every single one mana minion. Yeah, there are 283 of them. Some of them are duplicates because, like, some of them are core versus the original version, whatever. And some of them, like, these are... Yeah. If you think I'm gonna fucking put 283 of these cards on this fucking screen over here, you're a fucking idiot. I'm just saying that now. Because everyone's like, oh, why didn't you do that for the other ones? I'm like, okay, I did it for the new ones. I'm not fucking putting 283 cards. If you don't know what these cards are, fucking look it up, dude. Like, I'll go over here to... Let's go to the bottom. Like, I'll go over here when I'm looking at it, but I'm only going to look at it for a second just so I can read its name off. Okay, now let's get into it. So the first one is going to be Zealous Initiative. 1 mana, 1/1. Death Rattle, give a random friendly minion +1/+1. This card is fucking useless in Wild. Literally completely useless. I don't think it even ever saw play. Nothing that I can remember. Young Priestess. 1 mana, 2/1. At the end of your turn, give another friendly minion +1 health. Again, useless. Zombie Chow. Zombie Chow saw a little bit of play, but I'm not even going to care about, like, these cards when they were good. This card's just useless. Worgen Infiltrator. So, Worgen Infiltrator was good in Stealth Rogue in Standard. I think that's good enough to justify being, like, a C-tier card. Honestly. What is this list? It's every single one-mana minion. I'm just going to rate them based on, I don't know, how good they are currently in Wild, and, like, if they were ever good, ever. Young Dragonhawk. Bait. This card's just incredibly bait. What the fuck is it called again? Wretched Tiller. Okay, so this card was... How do I put this? The card is currently terrible and useless, but at one point it was genuinely overpowered. So I guess I'll put it, like, here for Wretched Tiller. Tunneler. Weasel Tunneler is a pretty meme card that you can run in, like, some fun decks. Zombie Chow has to be higher? Okay, fine. Dude, I don't know. I've never fucking played Zombie Chow. I've never played Zombie Chow in my entire life, okay? But same with, like, Weasel Tunneler. I'm not ranking these, like, in tier, by the way. Tour Guide, easy S tier. Tour Guide is one of the best one-drops of all time. Just as a fact. Voodoo Doctor was in a very good deck in Heal Zoo Priest, or Heal Zoo Warlock. That was a genuinely good deck. I think it goes in B tier, because that deck was really good. But, like, Wretched Tiller, I think I have to put above because it was, like, in a fucking game-breaking 2 classes ran this card game-breaking deck because of OG 3-mana Hysteria, and, like, it was actually genuinely broken. So, like, I think I have to put this, but, I mean, that's just it. Small Time Buck, probably an S tier as well. Small Time Buck is really, really good. It got nerfed, and then it was reverted for Twist, and it was still very powerful. I think that's pretty fair. Oh god, what is this card again? Wax Golem? Wax Elemental? So, Wax Elemental saw play in Quest Rogue. It's currently playable in Taunt Warrior. I think putting it with Voodoo Doctor is pretty fair. Like, in the grand scheme of things. Toxfin, easy S tier. Flurgle was incredibly powerful. Flurgle is still powerful. I don't think anyone can really disagree with that one. Where is it? Tentacle of N'Zoth. This card's just bad. I don't know if Tentacle of N'Zoth has ever seen play. It's like Sheep, but worse. So, yeah. Deckhand, easy S tier. This card's always been good. 1 mana, 2/1 charge. Just always been a good card. And it will be a good card because it's still good in Pirate Rogue. You would run this in Pirate Warrior. You run this in some Shadow Priest lists. It's not amazing in that list, but you still could run it. Yeah. Boar. Boar and Wretched Tiller are in the same tier because they were both incredibly fucking broken in Priest. You would play Switcheroo with Boar. You would give it 20 attack because you would Switcheroo it with Darkness. And then you would copy it for 40 damage on like turn 4. It was really, really good. Yeah, I think it's pretty fair to put Boar in that tier. Slither Spear. I don't think Slither Spear is as good as these cards, but still a great card. Like, these cards were broken at one point, right? But Slither Spear is just a very strong card. You run it in, like, Naga DH. You run it in, like, an aggro Hunter. It's really good in Standard. The card's just good, you know? What is this? Swamp Dragon Egg? Yeah, Swamp Dragon Egg, literally useless. Voodoo Doctor. Undertaker is one of the strongest cards ever printed. Undertaker Hunter is one of the best decks ever made. So I don't really need to explain why it should go in S tier, I think. You go there. It's just a very, very strong card. Getting +1/+1 every time you play a Death Rattle is really strong when the best cards in the game were Death Rattle minions. You know? What is it? Tournament Attendee? I don't think this card's ever seen play. People considered running this in Taunt Warrior and then realized, wait a minute, it's a 1 mana 2/1 that does nothing else. It's fucking terrible. Ashtongue Slayer. So, Ashtongue was never actually a good card. Oh no, where is it? Oh, it's all the way at the top because it starts with A. Are we serious right now? I don't know why they went like that. Ash. Wait, is that what it's called? What is the card called? I thought it was Ashtongue Slayer. Soulbound Ashtongue. Fuck off. Okay, Soulbound Ashtongue. So, there are a lot of meme combos with Soulbound Ashtongue that are actually doable. They're not great, but at one point, like, Odd Warrior running Ashtongue, Silas, Shield Slam was doable. It's not good by any means, but it was doable, so I think it's about the same as these cards. Maybe this should go up higher, because Stealth Rogue was a genuinely decent deck. Leech. It's called Swamp Leech. This card's just bad. It's never really done anything. I don't think it will. Stockade Guard. Again, this card's just bad. It's never seen any play. Doesn't do anything. I don't know what else to say about it. Tram Mechanic. That's what it's called, right? Where? Tram Mechanic. This is a new card. So far, it's completely useless in Wild. You can run it in, like, Fell DH, I guess. But that's not very good. I think it's got to go, like, here, because the Sludge package is a thing in Standard. It's also still not good. But I think it's fair to put it there. Vrykul. So Vrykul is playable in Swamp Queen Hunter. It's not good, I don't think, but you can run it in that deck, which says a lot more than these cards. These cards don't even have a niche, whereas like these cards at least have their niche. Yeah. Put you with you. Shifter Xeris. I don't think anyone has ever hard ran Shifter Xeris in their entire life. This card's fucking terrible. I don't really think I need to elaborate more. Skaterot. Really good card. You run it in every single mech deck that has ever existed. It's 0 mana, 1/1. Give a mech rush. And +1/+1. It's just really good. Currently, it doesn't have any use because mech decks don't exist in Wild, but, you know, it is what it is. Sir Finley Murgleton. Probably fair to put him like an A tier. Pirate Warrior ran this. Like Aggro Druid ran this. Just a good one drop, I guess. Sir Finley Sea Guide, easy S tier. Card's nuts. You run it in so many different lists. It's just very, very powerful. Don't really need to say more. Ivis. Ivis is really, really strong with Oracle of the Loon. And that's kind of it. Again, Ivis is still just a tier above these. Like, these are like pack filler cards. Ivis is at least like had an identity, right? Mermy. Uh-oh. Hello? My tier list is frozen. Give me a second. Okay. Mermy. Mermy is a good card. It's just solid. You played it in a lot of different, like, pirate, or not pirate, Murloc decks. You play it in, like, yeah, just Murloc decks in general are always going to be running Mermy. It's just a pretty good card. It's very sticky. It's just good. I don't really have anything more to say about it. It's about the same tier as these. Leper Gnome. Easy S tier. Leper Gnome was incredibly, incredibly powerful when it first came out. It got nerfed. You'd still play it in, like, Undertaker Hunter. Then, like, Leper Gnome, Odd Rogue was, like, pretty decent for a while. Leper Gnome is just a card that's just very strong. It's historically strong. You can still run it in some odd decks. It's not a bad thing. Nothing like that. Safety Inspector. This card's never seen any play. I don't really get it. Like, I guess you're just supposed to, like, mill one card, or pitch one card with it and get it back, get something else back. But, like, doesn't really do anything. Sir Finley is better in it in every possible way. Yeah, I don't really have anything else to say about it. Where is the Murloc Tidecaller? Probably here. So Murloc decks are very powerful, or have been like decent enough throughout the time. But Murloc Tidecaller, sorry, will always be ran in Murloc decks. It kind of feels like because it's that archetype's like Undertaker, you know. It gets +1 attack every time you play Murloc. It's just pretty good, you know. Where is it? It's probably up here. What? What is the name of this card? Is that an H? Something Og Merchant, I think. What? Where is it? It's an Og Merchant card. I know that. It's the Rush one. I just don't know the name of it. Oh, come on. And then the Blizzard freaking website sucks. Rocket Og Merchant. There we go. Rocket Og Merchant. This card's never seen any play, like, at all. It's 1 mana, 2/1, deal damage to 1 damage to a minion, give it rush. It's just completely useless in every possible way. I don't really know what else there is to say about it. RS. Rocket Og Merchant, there it is, yeah. This card's just bad. The other Og Merchants have seen play, so that tells you a little. Piranha Swarmer. So, how do I put this? As a 1-drop, Piranha Swarmer is a bad card. But if you consider schooling from Shaman, it's a great card. I think considering schooling from Shaman is fair. Because you're generating this. And it's a great card. Pelican Diver, same thing. They kind of fill the same niche, actually. With Pelican Diver, you run it in a lot of decks, or not a lot of decks, but a handful of decks. You run it in like a Beast Hunter. I've seen people run it in like Reno lists, just because it's 1 mana, deal 4 damage to a minion. Pretty decent. Don't really have anything else to say about it. It's just a decent card. Injured Cavaldier. Where are you? Injured Cavaldier. 1 mana, 2/4, deal 3 damage to this minion, undead. I don't think this card's ever seen any play. The 2-mana version of it, injured, whatever, the 2/6, that card saw play. It also had taunt. And this card's so much worse. I don't know. What's this card? Serenite Taskmaster? Is that what it's called? Yeah, Serenite Taskmaster. 1 mana, 2/3. Death Rattle, summon a 0/3 agent with taunt from your opponent. It's a Roscon's Rumble card, so obviously it's bad. Don't really need to say much more. Secret Keeper, again, a very prolifically powerful 1-drop. You've played this card a million times over the years in a bunch of different decks, a bunch of different classes. Don't really know what else I have to say about it. Potion Vendor. This card saw a little bit of play in Standard. Not an amazing card, but it did see some play. It came too late. So if Heal Zoo was still in Standard when this card came out, you would have played it. But this card was made for Heal Zoo, but didn't come out until Heal Zoo had rotated, which is kind of awkward. Like I'm saying, it's just, yeah. Oh god, what's this card called? Shield Bearer. Shield Bearer. You go right next to the other 1-mana guy. So Attendee and Bearer were both theorized for Taunt Warrior. Both of them suck. What are you going to do? They have no effect. They have no tribe. All they are is stats, and they're not even that great at stats. So, yeah. Mistress of Mixtures. This card's been amazing in Warlock forever, and it probably will be in the future. It's 1 mana, 2/2. Death Rattle, heal yourself for 4. Like, this card's great. I don't know what else to say. It's just always been a good card. Heal Rogue, not sure about Warlock. Shut up. Shield Bearer OP in Classic. Yeah, I don't believe that. Patches. Patches is probably the best 1-drop ever. Card will always be good, I think. As long as Pirates as a tribe are good, Patches is going to be good. I don't really have anything better to say about him. He's 1 mana, 1/1 Demon Pirate. After you play a Pirate, summon him from your deck. He used to have Charge. Like, he used to be even better, and he's still fucking good, nerfed. So, I don't think Patches is going anywhere. Peasant, A tier. A lot of decks have run Peasant over the years, like a lot of odd decks, some like Aggro Druid. Standard has run Peasant a lot. It's just a pretty decent card. 1 mana, 2/1, draw a card at the start of your turn. If your deck ever just needs card draw and it's very minion focused, if you could somehow like justify Peasant, it's going to be decent. And of course, if you can protect it, it'll be good. Mistake. Mistake is Direwolf for every single tribe. That's pretty decent. Of course, there are better options than Mistake. Like for Pirates, you have Jolly Roger. For Beasts, you have something. For Totems, you have 0 mana, 0/3. There's a bunch of cards that are better than Mistake, but Mistake itself is just a decent card. It synergizes incredibly well with tribal decks, like multi-tribe decks, zoo or menagerie decks, whatever they're called. It's just a good card. Penflinger. If Penflinger wasn't nerfed, it would go S tier, but I think because it's nerfed, it has to go B tier. Pre-nerf Penflinger is one of the favorite cards in Hearthstone across multiple, not dozens, across like a large percentage of the player base. People love Penflinger. You played it in Libram Paladin, where it was really good. You played it in Garrote Rogue. There's technically a Bolner OTK with it on, 2 mana? Or not 2 mana, 3 mana? Sorry. Yeah, on 3 mana you can Bolner OTK if it still worked, but the card was nerfed before Bolner came out, which is part of the reason why they can't revert it. That 3 mana Bolner OTK. But it's just a good card. I don't know. I wish it was playable still, because of course everyone loves Penflinger. Hey, loser! Wasn't me! All the iconic voice line. Just how it is. Mecharoo. Where did I put Mermy? Yeah, Mecharoo and Mermy are identical. Technically they have different text, but their functionality is exactly the same. There's another Mecharoo somewhere, because it was in Core. Maybe not, whatever. But yeah, their functionality is exactly the same. You play it in mech decks, it's very sticky. Some mech decks don't run it. I think Paladin wasn't running it, but Paladin has access to really good mechs. I think Mage and Rogue were still running it though. But yeah, it's just a pretty decent card. It's very sticky. It allows you to get your magnetics off. Nothing really crazy about it. What the fuck? Murloc Raider. 1 mana, 2/1 Murloc. Okay. Hermit Crab. Helmet Crab, right? Helmet. Where is it? Helmet Hermit, sorry. Uh I can't put it higher than here, but Helmet Hermit Silence Priest was a meme deck in Standard at one point, where you would play this card and the Silence card that deals damage to enemy minions based on the minion's attack, and it was pretty okay together. This card, if we ever get more Silence synergy, this card would be great. 1 mana 4/3 that synergizes with the Silence, but I don't think Blizzard's going to print more Silence Priest cards, so kind of just is what it is. I can't really put it any higher than like C tier. Kindling Elemental. This card is really good. Elemental Shaman in Standard was like a tier 2 deck at one point, and of course Kindling Elemental was part of that reason. They nerfed Granite Forgeborn to it from 4/5 to a 4/4, and it was still a good deck. Yeah, I think Kindling Elemental is just good card, about the same level as these cards. Like I said with these two, their nerfed version is a lot worse, but their peak is like up above these even. So I have to put it about here. The next one, Jar Dealer. J. Jar Dealer. 1 mana 1/1 Death Rattle, add a random 1-cost minion to your hand. I don't remember if this card has ever seen play. It seems just like pack filler. It doesn't really do much of anything. It's not a good card. I don't know. Meeting Stone. So Meeting Stone saw play in Evolve Shaman and Standard. That alone puts it above these cards, because like I said, none of these cards have seen play. All of these cards have seen play. Sinstone Totem? It's called? Yeah. This card is in Standard Totem Shaman. I don't really care that much for Standard decks, but I still have to acknowledge it. So, yeah, it's in a deck. Runic Egg, it's a pretty good card. You run this in, like, Mechathune Warlock. Mechathune Warlock doesn't really exist anymore, but still about the same as these cards. Lowly Squire. So, if we're talking about day 1 odd Demon Hunter in Wild, Lowly Squire is a fucking broken card. Oh, yeah, you can also discover this for even Shaman. But yeah. Yeah, Lowly Squire, day 1 Demon Hunter was a fucking odd Demon Hunter, was incredibly broken. This was in that deck. After it got nerfed, this was still in that deck. This card will always be an odd Demon Hunter. It's just odd Demon Hunter doesn't exist. But like I've said, I'm still rating cards at their peak if their peak was nuts, and Lowly Squire has to go here just because its peak was so nuts. What is it? Goldshire Footman? What is this card called? 1 mana, 1/2 taunt. Snake Oil Salesman. This card's currently seeing play in some decks. You run it in, like, people are running it in Shadow Priest. It's 1 mana 2/2 with an upside of getting tradable. It's just got to be a decent card. I don't really know what else to say about it. It's pretty decent. It might be better than I'm putting it. It might be worse. The card hasn't been out for very long, so I can't really know, but yeah. Trog, S tier. On release, Trog was one of the most broken cards ever printed before it got nerfed, and it's still an incredibly powerful card. Oh yeah, Reno. Well, yeah, okay, yeah. This card also goes in like Quest Mage. Yeah, never mind. It's an okay card. S, really? Sure, whatever. But yeah, like I was saying with Trog, Trog is still an incredibly powerful card, but on release, it would summon a copy of itself. That was so goddamn broken because every single game was decided by which Hunter player could play Doggy Biscuit on their Trog first. So, yeah, there's that. Light Warden. Yeah, 1 mana, 1/2. Whenever a character is healed, gain +2 attack. This card was in Heal Warlock. Uh, yeah, it's just, I mean, I can't really put it any higher than Voodoo Doctor. Gurabashi Offering, fucking terrible. Infectious Sporling. This card saw play in Odd Paladin, Odd Hunter, Odd Rogue. Like, this card was pretty decent on release. It kind of just fell off. I don't know. It kind of just really fell off, is all I can really say. It's not much of anything. It was a great, 1 mana removal card, but there's better 1 mana removal minions. Like this. Yeah, I don't really know. Mogu Cultist. I think it's fair to put Mogu Cultist in the same tier as these playable cards, because these cards just don't do anything, right? They're pack filler. They don't really do much of anything. Mogu Cultist, you can do stuff with it. It's not good, but you can do things with it. I think it's fair to put it on the same tier as these cards. What is this card called? Like Grimscale Oracle? Yeah. 1 mana, 1/1. Your other Murlocs a +1 attack. This card's an easy S tier because it was in what's it called? Tip the Scales Paladin and Anything Can Happen Paladin. I mean, they're two different decks technically, but it was still in both. And it's been in a bunch of different Murloc Shaman decks. This anything. No, not anything. Everything. Whatever the 10 mana Paladin spell that summoned Murlocs and you would OTK with from League of Explorers. You ran this card in that deck. It was really, really strong deck. People really are fond of it. Yeah. That's all I can say. It was really strong in a lot of decks. And you still play it even today. It's just, yeah. They should probably give it 2 health like they did with Direwolf, because it is exactly the same as Direwolf, except it's a Murloc. It probably does deserve that buff, but they just haven't done it yet. Helpless Hatchling. Useless fucking card. 1 mana, 1/1. Death Rattle. Reduce the cost of the beast by 1. Literally useless. Just never did anything in any deck ever. I don't know how to say. Glacial Shard. Easy S tier. Glacial Shard is just a really strong tech card. It's always good into Kingsbane. It's always good into Questline Druid. It's good just because it's 1 mana free or something. It's just a good card. I don't really know what else to say. Just a pretty good card. Faithful Lumi. So, Faithful Lumi is a bad card, but it saw a little bit of play in mech decks during Boomsday. And I mean a little bit. Even during Boomsday, this card didn't make the cut in many decks, or just got cut in general. So, I still have to put it higher than this, but it can't really go much higher than these cards. What's this one called? I know it's Aug Merchant. Oh, Guardian Aug Merchant. 1 mana, 2/1. Battlecry, deal 1 damage to a minion, give Divine Shield. This card saw play in Garrote Rogue. It saw play in Aggro Druid in Standard, or Taunt Aggro Druid. It was good in Aggro Demon Hunter. I think this card's an S tier. It was really strong for a while, and it probably could be good in Standard or Wild if we had something to support it better. You played it with Bone Chewer Brute, I think it's called, the 2 mana 2/3 that whenever it takes damage against +2 attack, and you would give it Divine Shield, and it was really powerful. Yeah, I think it's a fair card to put in S tier compared to some of these other cards. What? Hot Air Balloon. 1 mana, 1/2 mech. At the start of your turn, gain +1 health. This card sucks. You played this in Mech Paladin before Mech Paladin was a good deck. That's all I can say. Emerald Sky Talon, same thing. It's just worse than Pelican Diver. But I don't know. I can't really. I guess I could justify putting it in D. Oh god, what's the card called? Oh, Intrepid Initiate. 1 mana, 1/2 Spellburst, gain +2 attack. This card was fucking broken on release. It was really strong in Hunter. It was really strong in Demon Hunter. It was really strong in, I think, before Gibberling got nerfed, Token Druid, you played this as well. Yeah, it's just a really strong card. It was really good in 3 really good decks. Where else am I going to put it, right? I don't have any other tier to put it in. Feral Gibberwur. This card sucks. It's just worse than Gibberling, and Gibberling isn't 1 mana anymore. Garabashi Chicken, Pack Filler. What's this card called? Emerald Reaver? Emerald Reaver, 1 mana, 2/1. This card did see play, so I can't put it in D tier. It was a bad card, but it did see play because it was just, 1 mana, 2/1, deal 1 damage. I can't really put it any lower. So the Glacial Shard. Ethereal Og Merchant. This is also an S tier card because Garrote Rogue was the best deck in the entire fucking game at one point in Standard. And this card made it fun. This is the card that made it work. You had all those draw cards, yeah, but like if you didn't have Ethereal Og Merchant, you weren't able to actually kill your opponent. On top of the fact that it actually drew cards as well. Gravel Snout Knight. That's what's called, right? Gravel Snout Knight. 1 mana, battle cry, summon a 1-cost menu for your opponent. 2/3. Yeah, card never saw any play as pack filler. Same with Goblin Bomb. What is this one? Something Crawler. I don't know which one it is. Hungry Crab. So, Hungry Crab has to go about here. I don't think you ever hard ran Hungry Crab from what I remember, but it's always been good off of Zephyrus. So I think that alone just puts it there. Where is he? The Joust guy. Gadgetzan Jouster. 1 mana, 1/2. Battlecry, reveal a minion in your deck if it costs more. 1/1. Card sucks. Just doesn't function. I don't know what else to say. Elven Archer. This card saw a little bit of play in like classic and early expansions. I'm not really too familiar with that time. I didn't play, but I've seen like gameplay and I've seen people play classic. I think it's fair to go here. Firefly, probably an A tier card. Firefly was probably the best 1-drop in the game for a little while. During like Witchwood era, that like this card's just really really strong. You play this in every single odd deck. It's just a good card. I don't know. It didn't really meet any of the peaks of these cards, but like it's about power level as these cards. God, what's it called? Gnome Private. 1 mana, 1/3, honorable game, +2 attack. I don't think this card ever saw any play. Firefly, you know what? Sure, I'll put an S. I can put Firefly in S. It's not really that crazy. But yeah, Gnome Private, wherever the fuck it is, this card sucks. Never saw any play. Frequency Oscillator is a really powerful card. Of course, you run it in every single mech deck. However, you run it in decks that also run Mistake. Like Naga DH in Standard was running this card because it made your Mistake cost 0 for your combo turn. Just a really strong card. It's same as Kindling, right? I don't really know what else to say. It's just a good card, solid card. Drone Deconstructor. This card is fucking broken. Drone Deconstructor is Firefly, but better. You get a 1/1 with a random effect and magnetic. And it's every single mech deck has played this. Non-mech decks play it. You play it in Quest Rogue. It's like part of the reason Quest Rogue works. Sorry, I've been talking for like 2 hours. Yeah, it's just a good card. I don't have really much else to say. Foul Egg. A tier. Foul Egg you play in like egg decks, death rattle decks. You play it in like Death Knight and Standard, like that kind of like aggro list with Unholy. Obviously play in Breakfast Hunter. It's just a good card. Yeah, it's just a solid card. It'll be a solid egg. Since it's the 1 mana egg, it'll always be good. In decks that can afford it. I don't really have anything to say. Emerald Queen, no matter how copium I was for this card when it got buffed, I thought this card would be decent enough after it got buffed, but it just sucks so much ass. Never saw any play. Yeah. What is it? Dragon Egg? Dragon Egg. 1 mana, 0/2. Whenever this minion takes damage, summon 2 and well. I feel like I remember this card seeing play in some deck. I just don't know what it is, and I can't. If I don't know what it is, I can't really put it higher. I don't know. Dredger Staff. This card saw some play in Standard just because it gave your whole hand +1 health, which is good enough for like hand buff decks. I'm not too fond of it. I never really got to play around with it, but it seems like a decent enough card. Crowd Surfer. This card sucks. Everyone thought it would be good. Like, people really thought this card would be good. You know, it's 1 mana, give your board infinite +1. Like, it was just like a crazy card. But, like, the fact that it also buffs your opponent's minions just never made it worth it. And it's honestly just quite sad. Cogmaster? Yeah, Cogmaster. 1+2 attack, we have a mech. This card was really good in mech decks previously. But mech decks have gotten to the point where, like, you don't want to run a card like this because it doesn't have the mech tag. So you can't really justify running it anymore. And I think that's what really holds it out from going up any higher than just B tier. Okay, Clockwork Gnome. This card saw a little bit of play. It saw play in Twist even. I don't like the card. It doesn't really do much of anything. I think Spare Parts is just a failure mechanic, but I can't really put it lower. Crystallizer. S tier card. This card fucking hard carries Questline Warlock. It so hard carries Questline Warlock. It's insane. You trigger your quest by 5, but you don't deal any damage to yourself, and you actually gain health if you heal. It deals 5 damage to your opponent. After completion, this card hard carries that fucking deck, I swear. And it was part of the reason it got banned in the first place. So, of course, it has to be up this high. Elwyn Boar. Boar Priest was a real deck in Standard, right? Or at least like a meme-ish decent deck. It was like an okay deck. Boar Rogue is something you can do in Wild right now. It's not great, mainly because the meta doesn't fit it. But I think if we get like a miracle or like a mid-range-ish board meta, Boar Rogue could be real. Other than that, meh. Card didn't really do anything ever. You've never hard ran this card ever. Depth Charge saw a little bit of play. It was never really that good though. Yeah. You never hard ran this card. Dire Mole. So Mistake is Dire Mole, but Dire Mole saw play in so many fucking odd decks because it was just really good. It was 1 mana 1/3. It was just good. Like your Dire Mole card just was good. Obviously, currently Mistake is better, but if we're talking about all time, Dire Mole is a better card because it actually saw play in really, really strong decks. Mistake has been in good decks. Don't get me wrong, but like Dire Mole Odd Hunter, yes. Mistake is a better card if we're talking in the literal sense, but if we're talking about like what card was in more decks that was in more good decks, it was Dire Mole. Obviously, nowadays you never play Dire Mole over Mistake, but you know. Click Clocker. A tier card. It's been in every single mech deck since it's come out. Yeah. It's just a good card. I don't really know what else the fuck to say about it. It's just a really good card. Bubbler. No one's ever played this card. Ever. Where is it? What? Did I pass it? Huh? Oh, my god. Bloodsail Corsair. 1 mana, 1/2 pirate, battlecry, remove, third bit. This card was actually good in Aggro Druid in Wild and against Pirate Warrior. It made the Pirate Warrior matchup go from a 0% to a playable matchup because you would play this and you destroy like the fucking weapon, and it was really strong. It also, of course, gets you patches. Yeah, it was just a really strong card. Blazing Battle Mage. Yeah, you ran this card in Aggro Demon Hunter and Odd Demon Hunter, of course. When it was incredibly powerful, and this was part of it. This was just a good card. It's 1 mana, 2/2, no text. Of course, this card is better than it now, but this card was still really good at the time. Beaming Sidekick. Trying to think. Does Beaming Sidekick go in A or B? I think A. This card was really good in like Aggro Druid. It was good in Aggro Demon Hunter. It was good in Face Hunter. It's just a good card. I don't know. A lot of these cards were played in the same decks, and they were good in those same decks. Banshee. I don't think Banshee. No, Banshee gets played with Foul Egg. They go together. I can't justify it. But yeah, Banshee played Banshee in the Death Knight deck that plays Foul Egg, that Unholy Death Knight in Standard, but that's the only place you ever play that card. Oh god, what's it called? Body Arms Dealer. So Arms Dealer is also in that deck, but Arms Dealer is just a much better card. Yeah. You give all your you played this in Undead Shadow Priest in Standard as well. And that deck got nerfed as well, so it was obviously very good. Yeah. Just a pretty good card. I don't really have much else to say. Ooh, I'm almost at fucking class cards. I'm not, actually. There's some neutrals in here. So many left, man. Okay, Armor Vendor. Armor Vendor was a fucking good card. He played Armor Vendor in a lot of decks. He played it in a lot of control decks. He played it in Shutterwalk Shaman. He played it in so many decks. I don't really know what else to say. It's just a good card. I have to speed up a little. Argent Protector. Argent Squire. This was just a pretty good card. Saw play in a lot of different aggro decks throughout its time. It eventually got power crept by fucking Clicklocker and Righteous Protector and Paladin, but Argent Squire is not a fucking S tier card. All classic. Okay, fine. The card hasn't seen play in like 6 goddamn years, but sure, it's an S tier card. Fuck off. Oh, what's this card called? Possessed Villager. Possessed Villager is a decent card. Aggro Hunter. Okay, I get it. Yeah, it's a decent card. You would play it with, like, Defile. You'd play it with any effects that would destroy it, and that was just good enough, Playing it with Defile is really strong. I don't really think there's much more than to just say that. Arcane Emissary? Arcane Anomaly. This card was in the same deck. Where'd it go? There it is. This was in the same deck as Intrepid Initiate, but you would only play that in, like, Hunter. So I can't really put it in S tier, but it was a very strong deck. You didn't play it in, like, those other decks I listed before. But it was still good in that deck. Okay. Where is it? Sun Fury Champion. 1 mana, 1/3. After you cast a fire spell, deal 1 damage to all minions. Apparently this card is good. I don't know how good, because you don't ever play in Wild, ever. But apparently it's like decent standard, so I have to put it at least here. I don't know anyone that's ever played it in my entire life. I don't even think Magma Rage just fucking played this card, dude. It's just not very good. I don't know. Razorfen Rockstar. This card's an S tier card. This card fucking sent in Rage. Skipper Warrior in Wild. Like, Skipper Warrior was decent before. You would play, what's it called? You would play, find it right here, actually. Eternium Rover. You would play Eternium Rover over Rockstar, and you would gain 2 armor when this took damage. But Rockstar just fucking triples your armor game. Yeah. Like, Rockstar is just incredibly powerful, and it's what makes Skipper Warrior playable, honestly. Because before that, it wasn't, like, it just didn't really do much. It, like, gained armor, yeah, but not, like, on the same level at all. Spirit of the Rhino. Card sucks. Annoying Fan? Nah. It saw a little bit of play in mech decks when it first came out, but, like, it's not really good. I thought it would be a lot better, but Warbot, fucking Magma Rager told me this card does something sometimes, so I have to put it here, because at least he's tried it. Abusive Sergeant. So, here we go. Sergeant's probably about here. It used to be a 2-1, and you would play this in, like, fucking classic Zoo decks. And it was really, really strong. Like, really strong. But it got nerfed, and then didn't really see much play after that. At least Squire saw some play up until, like, it became irrelevant. This card just stopped seeing play after it got nerfed. Arceus Veteran. Yeah, you can see what's going on here. This card never saw any play either. Sky Raider. So Sky Raider was a fucking good card. It saw play in Pirate Warrior, and still is playable in Pirate Warrior. Obviously, Pirate Warrior is not a deck currently, but it's only a matter of time before it gets buffed or reverted. So, yeah. Okay, but you fucking played the goddamn 3-mana card instead of Sergeant. Shut up. N'Zoth's First Mate. I guess it's probably fair to put these there. Yeah, again, same thing. 1-mana, 1/1 pirate, get a 1/3 weapon, incredibly powerful. You probably don't play it in. You probably wouldn't play it in Pirate Warrior anymore, but it's been historically very good. It's one of the reasons Pirate Warrior existed in the first place, because it came out in Whispers, right? Yeah, Whispers of the Old Gods. Great card. Saw a lot of play. Probably isn't that good enough in the future. Ooh, this has been going on for 40 minutes. Shadowblade Slinger. So this card was playable in aggro, or not aggro, Zoo, Warlock, and Standard when it came out. And you would also, it was also playable in Questline Warlock, so I think putting it here is pretty good. It doesn't see any play at all in Wild, and didn't see any play after Questline got nerfed in Standard. But, like, the card should be good, you know? It's a Warlock Prize Plunderer, so, like, it might eventually come back, but just a matter of time. I don't remember if you played this in Darklair. I don't think you did, but, again, maybe. Skipper. I mentioned this card already. Yeah, easy S tier. Skipper's one of the best 1-drops ever created. This card does everything. You don't ever play it on 1. A lot of these cards you can play on 1. But like Skipper, this card just sets up so much. It's removal, it's armor gain, it's combo, it's fucking damage, it's everything. Like, you build entire decks around this card. It's just incredibly good. Chicken, obviously, fucking D tier. Broom, obviously S tier. Broom is, again, one of the best 1-drops ever printed. It's a 1-mana card that has the effect of a fucking 4-mana card. What the hell, Blizzard? You give all your minions rush. Really powerful. Air Guitarist, card's never seen any play. Town Crier. I think Town Crier is an A tier card. Fuck! Oops. I accidentally print screen. My bad. But yeah, Town Crier. This card saw a lot of play for a long time. It's not playable anymore by any means, so I can't really put it in like. And it wasn't like, I don't know. This card was just a solid, good card. It wasn't ever on like the same tier as most of these cards. Maybe this card goes down actually. Not this one, but it's just a really good card. You know, you drew a rush minion. I had a decent body. That's all I can really say. What the fuck is this card called? Sanguine Reveler. Destroy friendly minion. Okay, this card sucks. Voidwalker. This card has been good in like Zoo Warlock for a long time. It was playable in Twist Discard Warlock. You don't run it anymore. You did play it in Demon Zoolock. Demon Zoo Disco Lock when you ran Canrathad, because that was like the best version of Disco at the time. And this was, it's a 0/3 because of Canrathad, but you don't really play this card ever anymore. It's just a vanilla card, Vanilla cards don't really see much play anymore. They have to have, like, an over-the-top effect, or, like, really strong face damage, or just, like, mana cheat for cards to see play anymore. Or to give you, like, a really fucking good card. But, yeah, it's fair to put right here, I think. What the fuck? Fiendish Servant? Is that what it's called? This card was played in Battlegrounds, but never saw any play. Void Virtuoso. About here, C tier. The card's never seen any real play. It kind of got killed in the water before it could because they nerfed hero immune effects and life cost effects, so they don't work together anymore. But I mean, it's just Dire Mole with an upside, It's not that great of a card. You're probably never going to actually run this card ever. So, I don't really know. Meh. Oh, oops. Where is it? It's like Warsong Envoy. Yeah, Warsong Envoy, 1 mana, 1/3. Frenzy, gain +1 attack for each damage character. Yeah. So, Warsong Envoy Skipper OTK is a deck that you can play. It's not the best version of a Skipper OTK deck by any means, but it is playable. Of course, you give it charge. That's why it will do something, but yeah. It's a playable deck. That's all I can really say about it. I don't really have much else to say. Gnarg. Prison Gnarg. This card was really fucking good when it first came out. 1 mana, 2/2, dormant after two turns, get a Fiery War Axe. Just a pretty good card. You played this in like every standard deck or standard warrior deck because, like I'm saying, it's just so many effects for 1 mana. Flustered Librarian, 1 mana, 1/3, has +1 attack for each imp you control. This card was really, really good in Imp Warlock. Imp Warlock was a really strong deck in Standard. Probably fair to put it in S tier. I think so. It's the same as like some of these other cards for sure. Imp Warlock and Wild could maybe be a thing eventually, but like, meh. It's not really very good. Fucking Trog. Easy S tier, boys. Let's order this a little. That's probably fair. Yeah, good enough. Yeah, Tunnel Trog, 1 mana, 1/3. Whenever you overload, gain +1 attack. Crazy, dude. Aggro Shaman, Overload, whatever you want to call it, was the best deck in the game at one point, and entirely because of Tunnel Trog. Entirely because of this fucking card. So nuts. Pit Viper, useless. What the fuck is this card? Reliquary Seeker, useless. Witch's Apprentice, useless. I already forgot what this card's called. What was it called? I can't remember its name. Turnium Rover. Yeah, Rover is an easy A tier card. You put it with all these other, like, just good warrior cards. Rover, like I said, Rover saw play with Skipper, but, like, Rockstar is just so much better than Rover. Shockhopper? Is that what this card's called? Yeah. 1 mana, 1/2, Battlecry, get an Overload card, Elemental Beast. This is just a good card, right? It just came out and it hasn't really seen much play, but I feel like it has to go in B tier. It just seems like a pretty decent card. I don't know. We're getting to the point where we're getting to class cards, and class cards are a lot better than neutral cards. But, I mean, there's still some real stinkers, you know? Dust Devil. I don't think Dust Devil ever saw any fucking play. Even like in that deck we were talking about. Oh god. Scourge Troll. This card sucks. It's never seen any play. Flow Rider is really strong. Flow Rider is like an easy A tier card. 1 mana, 2/1. If you're overloaded, discover a spell from your deck. Just good. Good card. Yeah. Malk Imp. There we go. Malkazar's Imp is one of the most overpowered cards ever fucking printed. I think it's probably safe to put right here, actually. Above Skipper. No? Yeah. Discard Warlock in Twist is one of the most overpowered decks ever in our video game. Discard Warlock in Wild is one of the most overpowered decks ever in our video game. I don't know what else to say about Malkazar's Imp, except for the fact that it is the sole facilitator of those decks for the most part. Like, when it comes to draw. Even before the location came out, Malkazar's Imp was one of the most broken 1-drops ever created. This card is fucking insane, and I'm surprised it's never gotten hit, to be honest. Like, why? I don't know why it's still 1 mana. I don't know. Card's just really broken. Probably only second to patches, if we're being serious about, like, how strong a 1-drop is all time. Reliquary of Souls is what it's called? Yeah, Devourer of Souls, sorry. You play this in Phylactery Warlock and like Mindlock, and that deck has been good on and off. It's just a combo deck. It kind of just depends on the meta. And, I mean, the card works in that deck. It's not necessarily needed, but it definitely helps. Flame Imp. Same exact thing as Voidwalker. It's just a really strong Zoo Warlock minion that's been good over the years. And I don't really see it. I don't know. It was really good in Twist recently as well. It's just a very strong card. Grave Defiler? Yeah. So, Grave Defiler is a sad card. It was really good in Cataclysm Discard Warlock because you would copy your Fist of Jaraxxus and it's 1 mana deal 4 damage. The issue is that deck doesn't exist anymore, so Grave Defiler doesn't exist anymore. Like I've said before, I have to talk about the peak power level of a card, so I feel like putting it in B tier is good. It wasn't like a super broken card like these two, but it was definitely a strong card. Oh god, what's this card called? Wailing Vapor. Um, Vapor is... Where did I put the Murloc? What? Oh, there. Yeah, Vapor is the same as Murloc Tidecaller, but it has +1 health. Oh, I guess it's play. I think this one's summon. Still, you played this in Elemental Shaman, like I've said, and it was really good. And that deck was really powerful, so it has to go in this A tier. Yeah, the cards don't end, dude. Ooh, okay. Animated Berserker. This card never saw any play. Spy Mistress. So Spy Mistress saw play in Odd Rogue, but it also it saw play in Stealth Rogue and Odd Rogue. So I have to put it above this card. It's also just strictly better. But Odd Rogue used to run this card, and it was pretty good. You don't run it anymore because Fillet Fighter is just better, but yeah. Flame Imp. Kobold goddamn Librarian, dude. Kobold fucking Librarian. So, Kobold Librarian is the best Warlock 1-drop ever if we're talking not about Malchezaar's Imp. Kobold Librarian fits into more decks than Malchezaar's Imp, but it doesn't have the same high as Malchezaar's Imp has had. That being said, this card's fucking broken. You still play this card today. You know, this card's just nuts. 1 mana, 2/1, deal 2 damage to your hero, draw a card. Very simple, very effective. It's been in Dark Lair, it's been in Reno, it's been in the Zoo, it's been in Disco, it's been in Cube, it's been in everything it's been in everything that isn't Evenlock since it's come out. It was also in Mechathune. Like, every single Warlock deck that isn't even has been running this card. And Questline. I can't. Like, where do I stop? This card's just nuts. Blood Imp. Blood Imp, fucking useless. Sludge Slurper. The Sludge Slurper go in A or S. You ran this in Galakron Shaman, which was really broken. You ran it in Shutter Shaman. You obviously run it in Murloc Shaman. But I don't think it goes in S tier because it's never... You don't run this card ever anymore. Ever anymore. And I don't know. It just doesn't have the same... It's not like a lot of these neutral cards where they're in 3 broken decks, like this one, or stuff like that. So it's not on the same level, but it was still a very powerful card. I'll at least put it here. Witchwood Imp. Card sucks. Fucking Saxophone guy. Saxophone Soloist. Card fucking sucks. God, what's it called? Swashbuckler. Yeah, I think A tier is fair for Swashbuckler. You ran this in a lot of decks. You ran it in Aggro Rogue, Thief Rogue, Pirate Rogue. You've run this in so many different Rogue decks over the years, but it's not really on the same level as these cards. Where they're very ubiquitous or very goddamn overpowered, like fucking Trog or this or this. I don't think this should go up there, actually, now that I think about it. But, yeah. I think it's fair to slot it where it is. What's this one called? Surging Tempest? There, yeah. +1 attack, we have overload mana crystals. So this card fundamentally is just fucking worse than Tunnel Trog, but it was the remake of Tunnel Trog. It saw play in a couple of decks. You play this in like any elemental deck that runs any overload cards. It's just a decent card. It's probably fair to put it into B tier though. It doesn't really do much of anything anymore. Swashbuckler again. What the fuck is this card? It's like Wartbringer. Yeah, this card sucks. Never saw any play. Novice Zapper. So this card was good in Quest Line Shaman because it gave you 1 spell damage for 1 mana, which is a lot. The overload didn't matter because you'd fucking kill your opponent. But yeah, I think putting it in B is fair. I'm sorry if I'm losing energy. I've been doing this for over an hour now, and I'm not halfway done. Maybe I'm about halfway done. Ooh, okay, Prize Plunderer. S tier card. This card's fucking broken. You run it in every goddamn rogue deck under the sun. There are Miracle Rogue decks that ran it. You ran it in Garrote Rogue. You ran it in Pirate Rogue. It's just a really powerful card. S tier is pretty fair for it. Shatter Shambler. A tier card. So this card, at some points, it's an S tier card. At some points, it's an A tier card. Wait. No. What am I talking about? I'm sorry. Like I said, I've been talking for so long. I was thinking about this card with Mind Rogue. Mind Rogue doesn't fucking run this card. You ran this in Big Rogue, but Big Rogue doesn't exist anymore. So I have to put it in like B tier, because Big Rogue doesn't exist anymore. Jolly Roger. Jolly goddamn Roger. So I think Jolly Roger can go probably here. 1 mana, 1/3 Dire Mole, Pirate for Rogue. After you attack, summon a 1/1. This card's fucking nuts, dude. This is like one of the best cards in Pirate Rogue. Outside of Swordfish. I don't understand how this card exists. It's so goddamn broken. But it is what it is. It's just really strong. Air Elemental. Bladed Cultist. Jade Swarmer. Okay. So, Jade Rogue in Wild, it would be playable if they reverted Jade Telegram, and it would be an okay deck. But because Jade Telegram isn't reverted, obviously you don't play it. But Jade Rogue in Twist was really goddamn fucking broken. Of course, that's why I got nerfed. So I think it's fair to put this as a B tier card. It used to even be 2 mana. Tidepool Forager. It's strictly better than Mermy because it's a 1/2 that summons a 1/2. However, that doesn't matter. Mermy also goes in like Paladin decks, or Murloc Paladin and Murloc Warlock, but same thing. It's still just a strict upgrade, just this card goes in other classes. Suspicious Usher. Yep. Pogo goddamn Hopper. So, Pogo Rogue has never actually been a good deck in Wild. However, it's an awesome card. Everyone loves Pogo Hopper. I think putting it any lower is a crime. Putting it higher is impossible. So I think that's fair to put it. Okay, that's Jade Swarmer. Okay. Twilight Whelp. Twilight Whelp was in Dragon Priest, and Dragon Priest was a very good deck. A tier just makes sense for this card. Dragon Priest was really strong at one point in Gadgetzan because of, you had like Mind Blast and shit like that with all your Discover effects. But you ran this card in that deck. Concoctor? Yeah, Concoctor. Oh no. Oh no, did I break it? No, 1 second. Okay, it just had to load. That was so scary because there's fucking 200 goddamn cards. Concoctor. Cockrogue was really good in standard. I feel like concoctions can be good in wild eventually. I feel like they should bring back concoctions even. They're a cool mechanic. I think putting in A tier is pretty fair. It's about the same power level as a lot of these other cards. Yeah. Pharaoh Cat. Yeah, it's like I'm saying, it was just really good in Odd Rogue, like really good in Odd Rogue. When Odd Rogue was like one of the best decks in the game, you ran this. You ran this in like Whirl Kick Rogue and Standard. You ran it in just like Aggro Rogue in general. Really, really strong card. Getting a random Reborn is a lot better than hard running a Reborn. Blood Sail Flybooter? Yeah, Blood Sail Flybooter. Okay, you played this in Quest Rogue for a long time. It was the best option for Quest Rogue. The issue is that it's not the best option for Quest Rogue of all time. All time is this. For the longest time, it was this. This was just good for a short amount of time. So it was still really good, so I had to put an A tier, but was not the best. Sapper, Blackjack, Stunner. I feel like I remember this card got nerfed. That might not be right, but it was a very powerful card. Yeah, Secret Rogue was really good in Standard. Blackjack Stunner is definitely part of it because it's fucking. Look at this card. 1 mana, 1/2. If you control a Secret, turn a minion owner's hand, it costs 2 more. It's fucking targeted Freezing Trap. This card's nuts. This card's really good. If Hunter had this card, holy fuck. But yeah, it's just really strong card. Buccaneer. So Buccaneer is a very good card. It's always been playable in Odd Rogue. It'll always be good in Odd Rogue. You don't run it in Pirate Rogue anymore, and you used to run it in Kingsbane Pirate Rogue, but I don't think you can put it in S tier, mainly because it's getting cut over and over again. It's just not. It's not like a still playable card. I don't know. Some of these cards don't really see any play anymore, so I guess Buccaneer could probably go up in S tier. Flay Fighter, yeah, this card's fucking broken, dude. You play this in Odd Rogue, you play it in Pirate Rogue, it's 1 mana. You play this in Mind Rogue, even. 1 mana, 3/1, deal 1 damage. Good card. Obviously, it's Pirate. Spirit of the Dead? Yeah, that was right. It's fucking useless. Void Touch Attendant, one of the best 1-drops ever as well. Easy S tier, probably even above Jolly Roger. I don't think. Maybe that's fair. This card is what makes Shadow Priest a playable deck, and it's also really good in Reno Priest. Yeah, I mean, the fact that this is runnable in 2 widely separate Priest decks, but it's still one of the best cards in both decks, just says a lot. And it like hard carries Shadow Priest, let's be real. Like without this card, Shadow Priest feels a lot worse. Test Subject. This card never really saw any play. Like APM, OTK, Priest was a deck for sure, but it was not good. Shadow Bomber. So I think Shadow Bomber is probably like an A tier card. Well, no, I guess it has to go in S. This card used to be a fucking 1/2, then they buffed it to a 3/1. Or it used to be a 2/1, then they buffed it to a 3/1, and it was still good as a 2/1. They buffed it for Twist. It's a really good card. It only really started being good after Shadow Priest was a thing. So, like, yeah, but, like, still, it's a good card. Shadow Touch Cavaldier. This card fucking seems useless. I don't know. It hasn't seen any play in Standard whatsoever. Ship's Churgeon. This card's fucking broken, dude. I think you guys might be catching a pattern of why Shadow Priest is good, and why Pirate Rogue is good, and why Face Hunter is not good. I haven't gotten Hunter yet, but it'll be fine. Yeah, Ship Churgan, you play this, you summon Patches as a 1-2, you summon 2 Parachute Brigands as 2-3s. Fuck, dude, you win the goddamn game on turn 1. Like, a lot of these cards are strong. A lot of them are really strong to play on turn 1. But this card wins you the game on turn 1. You know? Like, I don't know. This card's fucking crazy. Psychic Conjurer. This card is pretty good. He's playing standard. You sometimes play it in Reno Priest, kind of meta dependent, but it's just good. You also played it in Shadow Reno Priest in standard. Or not Shadow Reno Priest. Shadow Undead Priest in standard. And it was good in that deck. Scarlet Subjugator. I don't think this card has ever seen any play. I really can't remember it. I can't remember if that card saw any play at all. I'm not gonna lie. Reliquary of Souls. This card saw some play in like just generic Control Priest. Never anything more than that. Just a pretty decent card. I don't really have anything more to say. Oops. What is it? Priestess Valish. 1 mana, 1/1 Naga, refresh an empty mana crystal for you spend this game. This card got nerfed. It used to be 0 mana. I don't know if this card has ever seen play at 1 mana. It still seems like a crazy effect to fucking refresh your mana equal to cards played. You know? In a class that has access to Radiant Elemental. But, I mean, at 0 mana, it was a card. I don't really think it's done much at 1 mana at all, so. Yeah, A tier. Imprisoned Homunculus. You played this in Shadow Priest at one point. You played it in Inner Fire. It's definitely not on the same level as these cards, but still a pretty decent card. Yeah, there's 1 mana. It's 1 mana 2/5, right? Yeah. I mean, dormant for 2 turns, yeah, but who cares? Still saw some play. Cleric of Scales? I want to say? Yeah. Holding a dragon, discover a spell from your deck. You played this in Control Priest during Galakron, and Control Priest during Galakron was the best deck in the game. Let's go next. Disciple of Galakron. You didn't really play this card because Invoking Galakron didn't matter. It's like a C tier card. Invoking Galakron never mattered for Control Priest because the Priest Galakron effect was like whatever at best. You mainly play Galakron for the hero power, and like the 1 mana 1/2 that didn't really do anything for you just never made the cut. Frazzled Freshman. Again, you played this in Shadow Priest. You played it in Inner Fire Priest. It was just a 1/4 body, no text, pretty decent card. Yeah, like that's all I can really say. It was just a decent card. Fucking Cleric, Northshire Cleric, easy S tier. This card was the best fucking card in Priest for a long time. The only reason you don't really play this in Priest anymore is because you never play a Priest deck where your hero power doesn't deal 2 damage. You would just play this on 3, bump their minion, heal it, draw a card. You'd probably get 2 or 3 cards from this throughout the game. It was just good. The full Northshire meme, very iconic. Yep. Vilefin Inquisitor. This card never fucking saw any play. Crimson Clergy. Over here, draw a card. So this card, if it was currently in the game, it would be an S tier. I think it's fair to put an S tier. It's banned from Wild. So that alone should say it should probably be an S tier card. The deck it was in was only like a tier. It was like a tier 3 deck, but they banned it anyway because they banned like a bunch of combo decks, or like gutted a bunch of combo decks. It was really stupid. Crystalline Oracle. So you ran this in. You ran Crystalline Oracle in Amara Control Priest in Standard, and it was very good in that deck because you would steal a bunch of cards from your opponent, and it would give you a bunch of gas. That deck was just good in Standard. It was like tier 2, I think. So, yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I'm sorry. I've been doing this for an hour and 20 minutes at this point. Okay. Sanguine Soldier. This card is good in Standard. You run it with Boogie Down, and it's great. You run it in like Aggro Paladin and Standard. You don't run this card in Wild at all, but I have to acknowledge how good it is in Standard. So it's an A tier card. What the fuck are they called again? I mean, this card's an S tier card, but I have to go find it. Aldor Attendant. Yeah. Leader and Paladin was the best deck in the game at one point. This card used to cost 2 mana. It was a 2 mana 2/3 when they buffed it, and it was really good. Leader and Paladin is a fan favorite deck as well, so it's pretty fair to put this in S tier. This card feels like it should be lower. I'm going to put this lower. It just feels right that it should be lower compared to all these other cards now that I think about it. Anyway. Cleric of Onshi. What's it called? Yeah. You played this in, like, again, play this generic good card in Standard Control Priest. Yep. That's all I can say. It was a good card in a good deck. It's like a Tendo bot. X21 Repair bot. This was incredibly fucking good in Mech Paladin. It's still incredible in Mech Paladin. And it will be incredible in Mech Paladin until the card gets, like, nerfed or something. Or somehow power creep. It's just a really good card. Selfless Hero. This card never saw any play. Chameleos never saw any play. Crystal Smith Cultist. Battlecry, holding a Shadow Spell. I think you played this in Standard, but it was fucking terrible in Wild. Devilish Cook. Sinful Sous Chef. I don't fucking know. 1 mana, Death Rattle, 2 Sailor Hand. Recruits to your hand, Undead, 2/1. This card was really, really good in Light Ray Paladin. And it's good in Standard Aggro Paladin currently. So it has to go in, like, A tier. Righteous Protector. This is the best 1-drop Paladin has ever had. This card is really good. There. It's 1 mana, 1/1 Divine Shield Taunt. It's great. You can summon it from Call to Arms, you just play it, you can buff it, and because it's Divine Shield, buffing it feels great. Just a great card. Librams. Yeah, he's right there. These ones I'm ordering. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm gonna do the top. I'm gonna do the 10 best 1-drops. Currently it's this. I think this is fair. 10 best. But I mean, I'll definitely get something in between these. Maybe even between Jolly Roger. Imprisoned Sungill. This card never... No, you played this in Murloc Paladin, actually. It has to go about here. Protector again. Oh god, was it Brazen Zealot? 1 mana, 2 on whenever you summon a minion, gain +1 attack. So you did play this in Odd Paladin if you sucked at the game and wanted to play a fun card. That's all I can say about this card. Automaton. Automaton is really strong in Standard. It's not playable in Wild, that deck, but it's really, really good in Standard. Glowtron. You still play Glowtron in Wild. It's Dire Mole with Magnetic. Who could have guessed it would be a good card? Mean Street Marshal. 1 mana, 1/2, Death Rattle. If it says 2 or more attack, draw a card. This card never really saw any play. Even like hand-buff decks, you don't fucking play this card. It's just not good. Violet Spellwing. 1 mana, 1/1, Death Rattle, get Arcane Missiles. I'm trying to remember if this ever saw any play. I think it's about here where it should be. I mean, it's like just a decent card. I don't know. I don't remember what it saw play in, if anything, but I feel like that's a good place for it to go. Knight of Anointment, also one of the best 1-drops Paladin's ever had. One mana, 1/1, draw. Holy Spell, really good. You don't run it in Call to Arms, but you run it in everything else. Like, literally everything else. The only deck you just don't run it in Call to Arms, you don't run it in Even. It's so powerful. Suspicious Alchemist. This card's fucking bad. I don't know why you would ever play this card in your entire life. There's no reason to play it. What is it called? Grind Scaled Chum. This card also sucks. Wand Thief. This is one of the best mage cards of all time. And rogue cards. This card's fucking great. 1 mana, 1/2 combo, discover a mage card, mage spell. It functions really well with rogue and really well with mage. Yeah. That's all I can say. Shivering Sorceress. 1 mana, 2/2. Battlecry, reduce the cost of the highest cost spell in your hand by 1. So, if this card was, like, in any other class but Mage, it would be fucking broken. But it's not. It's in Mage. So it has to be, like, a B tier card. Because Mage doesn't run this card. And Mage doesn't really ever run this card, like anything. It's kind of crazy. Because this card, if it was in any other class, it would be so strong. But it was just printed at, like, the wrong time, I think. I don't know. Glacial Racer, 1 mana, 1/3, spell burst, deal 3 damage, all frozen enemies, fucking terrible. OG Mana Worm was a really good card. Definitely an S tier card when it was a thing. And it would have been good for a long time, but it got nerfed. And then, you know, at 1/2, it was never playable. But it got reverted to a 1/3 at some point, but they just never... like during Twist, they just never, it never recovered, you know? It got nerfed way too early in the lifetime of the card, and it got Hall of Famed at one point anyway, so, like, I don't know why they never reverted it. Just kind of sucks that the card had to live out its last few years being unplayable when it would have been playable. Cabal Lackey. S tier. Probably fair. Before its nerf, Cabal Lackey was the best mage 1-drop ever. But after its nerf, it's probably worse than Costume Singer. I feel like it's fair, though, to put it here. Like, this card fucking so broken. Hard-carried Seeker Mage. Yeah, hard-carried Seeker Mage.
for a long time. Lackey on one, Rig Fair Game on one. It was like one of the most broken things ever in the game. You know, it slowed down eventually, but it was so goddamn strong, and that's why they nerfed it, because people just hated it so much. Babbling Book. This card won a world championship. Babbling Book won a world championship on its own. It's easy A tier card. I don't really know where else you would put it. Lab Partner. I don't think Lab Partner ever saw any play. I don't remember if it did in Standard. Definitely didn't in Wild. Did you play Lab Partner in Mozaki Mage? I don't remember. I'll put it here, because they're about the same power level, but like, I don't remember if the card ever saw any play. Daring Fire Eater fucking sucks. Arcane Worm sees play currently in Standard Rainbow Mage, which is apparently a really strong deck. Sunscale Raptor? Yeah, this card's fucking terrible. Arcane Artificer. This card is really good. Big Spell Mage was one of the best decks of its time. It was like a tier 1 or tier 2 deck when it was around. And you played this card. You play this card in like standard decks. It doesn't really work in Wild. It's just like non-Secret Mage just kind of sucks. It's only Quest Mage or Secret Mage. Have only been like the really good Mage decks in Wild, which is pretty awkward. And you don't run this in either of those. It's just, yeah. Thornmantle Musician. I'm not a fan of this card. You guys know I play a lot of Hunter, but I can't forget to acknowledge that Cleave Hunter was a very strong deck in Standard just recently, and this card is definitely a part of that reason. It's not the sole reason, of course, but it's still really good. It's Dire Mole with an upside, as always. I have to really put it just here. Just a good card. Wolper Goddamn Tinger. So, Wolper Tinger is probably one of the best Hunter 1-drops. You buff it with Scavenger's Ingenuity. You buff it with Crate. You would play this in Face Hunter. Sorry, in Standard with what is it called? Beast Wrangler? What the fuck is the card called? The 4-mana Forge in the Barrens card that would draw or discover a beast from your deck and then give all copies of it +2/+1. You play this in that deck. Wolper Tinger is just one of the, and of course you played in Beast Hunter. It's just one of the best Hunter 1-drops of all time. It's still not very good though. Like, compared to other 1-drops, I don't know. Trinket Tracker. Yeah, I have to put this card in S tier as well. Again, as always, it's still one of the best Hunter 1-drops of all time. Just compare the Hunter 1-drops to other classes 1-drops, it's just so much worse, even though it's still a great card. 1 mana, 1/1, draw 1. Like, compare this fucking card to this card, dude. Like, what the fuck? 1 mana, 2/1, deal 2 damage to your hero, draw 1 card. That's a downside, yeah, but it's still an upside in a lot of decks, versus 1 mana, 1/1, draw a 1-cost card. 1-cost spell, even. Yeah. Costume Singer. If we're talking about for Mage, the card was fucking broken shit. If we're talking about for Hunter, it was an okay card. Not ordering them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I need a 10th. I don't think it's Undertaker is the 10th best 1-drop. I'll have to restructure the tier. I think Trog's probably better than Undertaker. But, yeah. Like, Undertaker got nerfed before it could really have longevity. But it's still really strong. Anyway, yeah, this card, really good in Mage, was okay in Hunter, got nerfed because of Standard, and then just really didn't do much in Wild ever since. Dire Wolf. This card's been pretty bad for a long time. It got buffed. It's just a meh card. You don't run this like ever in most decks. You did run it sometimes in Beast Hunter, but meh. Like I'm saying, fucking, what is it? Web Spinner. Yeah, Web Spinner, sucky card. Shimmerfly card also sucked. Raptor Hatchling sucked. Springpaw, really good card. Springpaw was in, you know, Aggro Hunter during Rosticons, which was the best deck in the game, and you played it in Old Doom Quest Hunter, which was a pretty good deck at the time. This card fucking sucked ass. What's it called? Mystery Winner? Yeah, Mystery Winner, this card sucks. Macaw saw play, but it's a B tier card, I think. It saw some play, but like it fell off really fast, like really, really fast. I don't think you even played. Yeah, you played it like in Ungoro, but I don't even think you played it in Knights of the Frozen Throne. That's how fast it fell off. Just doesn't do much of anything. Hellbore, fucking shit card. Phew, fuck. Fiery Bat, shit card. Don't do anything. Dwarven Sharpshooter. Put it there. Dire Mole with a bat and an upside that doesn't matter because you don't want to be hero powering minions in any deck. Any deck. And like people are like, oh, you running an Odd Hunter. No, you don't. It's fucking Dire Mole, dude. You're never hero powering minions in Odd Hunter before the questline came out when it cost 0 mana. Brave Archer, this card's fucking bad. It's so bad. It's one of the worst cards ever printed. Batty Guest, pretty good card. It's like a A tier card, I think. 1 mana, 1/1, Death Rattle, summon a 2/1. That's just, it's just good effect. Still weird that it is. Actually, I guess in the literal sense, it has to go with these cards because they're all about as good as each other. Like Mecharoo, Batty Guest, Mermy. Alley Cat. Alley Cat saw some decent play. I think it's about an A tier card. Yeah, I've got all the other ones. It's about an A tier card. Definitely not as good as these ones. But yeah. Yeah. It's just strictly worse than Wolpertinger nowadays. And like there's some situations you won't even run Alley Cat because Wolpertinger and snakes exist. It's not Acorn Bearer, it's Vibrant Squirrel. Yeah. Vibrant Squirrel, this is a really good card. Like, I'm talking about really good. Like, I'm talking about really good. Vibrant Squirrel is hard run in every single, like, fucking aggro druid deck. It probably will be until the end of time. It's really good because it's a beast and it summons beast. It's really good because it's just 1 mana card, get 5 2/1s. Nuts. Literally. Yeah, it's just incredibly powerful. You played it in like the aggro taunt druid, which was one of the best decks in the game at the time. Yeah. Spear of the Raptor, terrible. Peaceful Piper. You played Peaceful Piper in Questline Druid, and it was incredible in that deck. You play it in Beast Druid, it's incredible in that deck, even though Beast Druid's kind of whatever. Yeah, you play this in like Hero Power, Druid, and Standard. Just a crazy card. It's 1 mana, 1/1 draw card, or discover a beast. Like what the fuck? What is it? Living Corpse, Lingering Zombie. 1 mana, 1/1, summon a 1/1, summon a 1/1. I wish Hunter had a card like this, dude. Alright, I mean a lot of classes wish they had cards like this. If we're talking pure power level wise, this is just a good card. It hasn't had any support though, is the issue. So I have to put it like here. Power level wise, it's better than these, you know?
1/1 summon a 1/1 summon a 1/1. 1/1 summon a 2/1. 1/1 summon a 1/1. 1/2 summon a 1/2. 1/1 summon a 1/1. So like that. It's just good. I don't know, man. Like, in theory, this card should be really good. It's just locked behind being a druid card. Oh, what is this card called? It's like, yeah, Urzul Horror. 1 mana, 2/1, add the 2/1 to your hand. Don't think this card ever saw any play. Demon Hunter has so many better options. Free Spirit. This is like a B tier card. It never saw any play in Wild, but it was good in Standard. In Hero Power Druid was a really good deck. You would like use the armor you got from this to help subsidize you because you're going to use armor for your like Amanthul like shenanigans, and of course getting like 5 armor from your hero powers is really good, or 6 armor from your hero power. Where did I put it? Right there. Forbidden Ancient. This card sucks. Druid of the Reef is one of the best 1-drops of all time as well. I think it's fair to put up here. Where, though? I think Druid of the Reef can go under Trog. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, Druid of the Reef, you play this in every single aggro Druid deck that will ever exist for all time. It's a 3/1 with Rush, which is really good. It's a 1/3 with Taunt, which is okay. It gets resummoned by Oracle of the Loon, which is really good. And it's not a beast, but it summons beasts, which is really good. God, was it Emerald Raven or Enchanted Raven? This was the first 1 mana 2/2. And it was really good in Aggro Druid at the time, like when Mark of the Lotus came out, because it's fucking 1 mana 2/2 that you is going to survive to let you Mark of the Lotus it. So of course it's a good card. Bottom Feeder. This card sucks ass. Dozing Kelpkeeper. This card was really good for a while. I think A is still fine for it. It was just a really good card. It's 1 mana, 4/5. After you spend 5 mana worth of spells, come out. But it's still 1 mana, 4/5 rush. Like, that's a good card. I don't really have anything else to say about it. It's just a really strong card. Acorn Goddamn Bearer. So Acorn Bearer used to be really strong, and then Vibrant Swirl was printed. And then you're like, wait a minute, why do I ever want to play Acorn Bearer if it's just worse than Vibrant Swirl? But Token Druid in Rise of Shadows was pretty good at the time. And of course, Acorn Bearer was in that deck. So A tier is pretty fair for it. Shambling Chow. I think you play this card in like standard aggro Demon Hunter. But I don't know how good that deck is. I think giving it a B is probably fair. It doesn't really make sense in Wild, even as a Death Rattle card. It just seems kind of shit. I don't know. Doesn't really do much of anything. What's it called? Soul Jailer? Is that what he's called? Spirit Jailer. Battle Cry, shuffle 2 Soul Fragments in your deck. This is an S tier card. Because it was really good in Warlock, but it was broken in Demon Hunter. Because Soul Shard Demon Hunter was the best deck in the game during Skullman's. And, of course, 1 mana, 1/3, facilitate your deck is a good card. Shadowhoof Slayer. This card never really saw any play. Was it Metamorphin? Yeah, Metamorphin's a really good card. It comes and goes from like how good it is. Kind of just depends. But it was really good in Odd DH. God. It was really good in on Demon Hunter because you play it with mana burn, and it's fucking 2 mana, 3/4. Your opponent's has 2 less mana next turn, which is nuts. Like, that effect was really, really, really good. What is it called? Fierce Outsider. This card's really good. 1 mana, 2/1 rush, outcast. Your next outcast card costs 1 less. That's a really strong effect. It just is really strong. I don't know what else to say. Outcast Demon Hunter was a very powerful deck in both Standard and Wild in Festival of Legends. You run this in Questline Demon Hunter that runs Wallopers. It's just a really good card, and it's probably going to be good for a long time. What's it called? Sorry, Crimson Sigil Runner. This card is also really good. 1 mana, 1/1, outcast, draw a card. Still, it was a 2/1 at one point, so it was Kobold Librarian, but it didn't deal 2 damage to you. But it's still just worse than Kobold Librarian, because, yeah, it's not really run in that many Demon Hunter decks. You run it in, like, Outcast, and you run it in, like, the quest line that runs Outcast, but that's kind of it. It's not as ubiquitous as Kobold Librarian. It's not been around as long. It's not as powerful. Battle Fiend. Okay, so if we're talking about 2/2 Battle Fiend, it's probably also one of the best 2-drops or 1-drops of all time. But if we're talking about 1/2 Battle Fiend, it's pretty bad. I mean, it's okay, you know. Do I want to consider 2/2 Battle Fiend? I think I do. Which puts it here? 2/2 Battle Fiend? Cobalt equals free to file, that too. I think 2/2 Battle Fiend is definitely like one of the fucking most I think 2/2 Battle Fiend is one of the best cards of all time. Like, let alone one of the best 1-drops of all time. It was 1 mana 2/2. Every time you attacked, it got 1 attack. Huh? You have a fucking 1 mana hero power, dude. Card's nuts. Body Bagger. Body Bagger is really good. You run this in like every fucking Demon or Death Knight deck that isn't even, right? I think it's a S tier card for sure. Again, it's Undead Dire Mole with an upside. What the hell is this card? Ymirjar Frostbreaker. 1/2, 1 attack for each frostbite in your hand. This card's never seen any play. Skeletal Sidekick. This card has seen play. You play it in the Frost Egg Unholy Death Knight I was talking about before, so it goes exactly with those cards. And last but not least, actually not least, Noxious Cadaver. You play this in Blood Death Knight, and it's just really good. Oh, man, dude. As of me saying this, I've been recording for 1 hour, 47 minutes. If you enjoy, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, because this is the worst tier list I've ever done. Holy shit. If you're still here, goddamn, dude. 283 files. I hate everything. I hate everything so much. Why did I do this to myself? Why did I do this to myself?